Have you ever had that nightmare where you're trapped somewhere with no way out? An endless loop of corridors, staircases that never stop climbing, or rooms that stretch on forever? If you're even slightly claustrophobic, this movie will mess with your head in the worst possible way. Welcome to the recap of one of 2026's most disturbing horror films, The Backrooms. The Backrooms isn't just made-up fiction, it's one of the internet's most famous horror mythologies. It all started in 2019 when a strange photo went viral. The image showed an empty office-like space with yellow walls, harsh fluorescent lighting, and long, lifeless hallways. There was something deeply unsettling about it. People began speculating that it was a hidden dimension, a place you could accidentally no-clip into from our reality. The creepypasta community named it the Backrooms, and soon fans started creating fake footage of people running through those yellow rooms, chased by unseen creatures. The concept felt so realistic that many began to believe it was real. The idea was simple but terrifying. People who go missing might have simply fallen into this endless maze. Director Kane Parsons, who gained fame with his viral backroom short films on YouTube, finally brought the full feature version to life. Released on May 27, 2026, The Backrooms expands his earlier work into a chilling psychological horror experience. The movie opens in 1990. We see a mysterious corporation called Async. One of their explorers, Naren, is deep underground in a basement. Scientists monitor him through cameras. Naren is walking through a bizarre subterranean area with yellow walls, flickering lights, and endless corridors filled with room after room. What starts as exploration quickly turns into a desperate escape attempt. A large, shadowy entity begins hunting him. In a panic, Naren runs, but the creature brutally kills him. This chilling prologue sets the tone for everything that follows. Years later, the real story begins with our protagonist, Clark. Once an aspiring architect, Clark now runs a struggling furniture store. Business is bad, and to keep things afloat, he's forced to wear a ridiculous costume and shoot cringeworthy commercials. His personal life is in ruins too. His wife has left him, and he's become an alcoholic. The only person he can really talk to is his therapist, Dr. Mary. She's a kind, empathetic psychiatrist who listens patiently, but she carries her own deep childhood trauma. Her mother was severely paranoid, keeping young Mary locked away from the outside world. The windows were covered with newspapers, so Mary couldn't even see outside. Eventually, health services took her mother away, but the damage to Mary's psyche never fully healed. One night, after another fight with his wife, Clark is kicked out and forced to sleep at his store. This is where the real horror begins. The store's lights constantly flicker, and the electricity bills are suspiciously high, as if he were powering 3 stores instead of 1. An electrician once told him there were 3 mysterious breakers in the meter that didn't seem connected to anything. That night, while watching TV, the lights start flickering again. Frustrated, Clark goes down to the basement and flips the switch. That's when he notices a faint glowing light on one of the walls. Curious, he walks toward it and accidentally phases through the wall. He has entered the Backrooms. The moment Clark steps in, the atmosphere hits hard. Endless yellow walls stretch in every direction. The fluorescent lights buzz painfully, casting a sickly glow. A stop sign stands ominously behind him. Half-finished furniture pieces and meaningless abstract shapes are scattered around. Nothing makes sense here. The space feels wrong, like a poorly remembered copy of reality. Clark walks deeper, realizing there's no end in sight. He finds a lonely Christmas tree in one room and some of Naren's old belongings in another. The realization that someone else was trapped here before him fills him with terror. Panicking, he finds his way back through the wall and returns to reality. Shaken, Clark tells Dr. Mary about his experience in therapy. Naturally, she assumes it's alcohol-related hallucination, but Clark is obsessed now. He draws a line on the basement wall to mark the exact spot so he can return. He even convinces his store assistant, Kat, and her boyfriend Bobby to come with him. The 3 of them enter the Backrooms together, carrying a standing camera to document everything. At first, they explore cautiously. The endless yellow monotony is disorienting. Eventually, they discover a dark, deep slope. Bobby ties a rope around himself and lowers down, but something monstrous is waiting below. A jointed, grotesque creature attacks. Bobby tries to climb back up in terror, but the entity drags him away screaming. In the chaos, Kat and Clark get separated. Kat panics and runs. Clark wanders into a room with an impossibly deep pool. Deformed, human-like creatures move in the water, twisted, nightmarish versions of people with horrifying faces. Clark had once tried to describe the backrooms to Dr. Mary. It feels like someone tried to build a dog based only on a verbal description without ever seeing one. The result is distorted, senseless, and deeply wrong. That's exactly what the backrooms are, a warped, deformed copy of reality. Meanwhile, Dr. Mary receives a voicemail from Clark before he went back in. He says he won't return until he has something to prove. Worried, she goes to the store to investigate. She finds the glowing wall in the basement and steps through. The horrifying realization hits her. Everything Clark said was real. She begins searching for him. When she finally finds Clark, he has completely lost his mind. Instead of trying to escape, he rambles about the backrooms. Suddenly, he attacks her, choking her until she loses consciousness. Mary wakes up tied to a chair. This is one of the film's most terrifying sequences. Clark is preparing dinner with three deformed human-like entities that move in a jerky, mannequin-like way. He tells her he doesn't want to go back to the real world anymore. His pathetic life, the failed career, the broken marriage, the drinking, has broken him. Here, the deformed creatures don't speak or judge him for being a failure. He reveals that the backrooms creates duplicate versions of everyone who enters. He shows her a grotesque mannequin-like body pulled from one of the creatures, and even Kat's severed head. He wants to keep Mary as his only real connection in this world. Terrified but composed, Mary talks to him rationally for the first time. She tells him his wife didn't leave because he was unsuccessful. She left because he refuses to change. He's an alcoholic who gives up on everything halfway. Her words finally reach him. Clark starts untying her. But before he can free her completely, the entities scream and scatter. A massive, monstrous version of Clark appears, a giant, cartoonish duplicate wearing the same ridiculous commercial costume. It's horrifying. Clark tries to reason with it, but the creature brutally attacks and devours him. Mary breaks free and runs desperately. The walls of the backrooms begin closing in, becoming narrower and more suffocating. In her panic, Mary accidentally triggers something. The giant Clark creature weakens. Suddenly, people from Async Corporation arrive wearing hazmat suits. They had discovered the backrooms long ago and used the dimension for industrial purposes, essentially zero-cost labor in an alternate reality. They monitor victims but rarely rescue them. They take Mary because they want to interrogate her. In the final act, we see Dr. Phil from Async questioning Mary. He explains the portals, how the backrooms were discovered, and how the corporation exploits them. Most importantly, he reveals that the backrooms don't just copy people. They create distorted realities based on their traumas, weaknesses, and memories. Clark's monstrous duplicate represented his failures and self-loathing. Everything Mary experienced was tied to her own childhood trauma. The post-credit scene delivers a mind-bending twist. Mary is shown in a room that looks like her real world, but everything is slightly deformed, a clear sign she might still be inside the backrooms. This has sparked two popular ending theories. 1. The Mary who was rescued is actually a fake duplicate, while the real Mary remains trapped forever. 2. The rescued Mary is real, but because she knows too much about Async, they won't let her live normally, and a fake version of her reality has already been created inside the backrooms. Which theory do you believe? Was the rescued Mary the real one or an entity? And if you had the chance to step into the backrooms, would you go? The backrooms excels at building dread through atmosphere rather than cheap jump scares. The sound design, constant buzzing lights, distant echoes, and the feeling of being watched is masterful. The liminal spaces feel genuinely oppressive. Chiwetel Ejiofor delivers a haunting performance as Clark, showing his descent from a frustrated man to someone completely broken. Renate Reinsve as Dr. Mary carries the emotional core of the film beautifully. The movie explores heavy themes: mental health, trauma, failure, and the terrifying allure of escaping reality. It asks whether some people might prefer an endless nightmare over their real lives. At around 105 minutes, the film feels both intimate and epic. While some viewers found the pacing slow in the middle, most agree that the final act and the lingering sense of unease make it worth watching in a theater with good sound. If you enjoy analog horror, psychological thrillers, or movies like Annihilation, The Endless, or Skinamarink, The Backrooms is essential viewing. It takes a viral internet myth and turns it into something deeply personal and disturbing.